Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about spellbooks, seeing as how they just got a structure deck printed for the archetype. And what I decided to do with spellbooks is take just the cards from said structure deck and make a deck using only those. So, here is the amalgamation that I have come up with. Yes, we are genuinely playing Breaker the Magical Warrior. We need some sort of back row removal. So, what overall is the plan of this deck? Well, by utilizing many of the powerful Spellbook cards, you're able to search through your deck. Using Spellbook of Secrets, Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, aka Blue Boy, as well as Spellbook of the Master, you're able to search out 3 different cards that you could potentially use to additionally follow up, or to potentially interrupt your opponent. You also have things like Spellbook of Knowledge, as well as Spellbook of Eternity for additional follow-up or additional recursion. And then, of course, we have Spellbook of Judgment, the quintessential just advantage engine. I'm just going to read this card to you, just so that you can understand it. During the end phase of the turn, this card was activated. Add Spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand up to the number of spell cards activated after this card's resolution. Then, you can special summon from your deck a spellcaster type monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards added from your hand by this effect. Now, what this allows is, first of all, it's a quick effect, meaning you can chain it to something, but that doesn't actually come up because it is specifically this turn that was activated after it. So, if you activate something and then chain Spellbook of Judgment, it doesn't work. But what this allows you to do is gain massive advantage, continually add cards to your hand, and basically never run out of cards to activate, while also potentially setting up something like a Jowgen to prevent your opponent from special summoning. That was the plan with spellbooks for a long time, and that was what kept them in contention with the Dragon Ruler prior to Judgment ban. So, what do we do with Judgment? What do we do post it coming back, and what is the game plan overall? Well, the game plan is basically Fate. You basically are just activating Fate to keep your opponent off of cards by banishing your cards to banish a card your opponent controls. That's kind of the idea. It's not very strong, and that's why overall spellbooks aren't crazy. They're normally a supplementary engine. Being able to end on something like Fate, while also potentially setting up spell counters or just getting spells engraved for something like Pendulum, or more specifically Endymion, and Sky Striker really do help. However, Spellbook of Fate is still a crazy card. Being able to non-target banish a card your opponent controls is very, very good. All in all, though, what this deck basically plans to do is just hopefully not die by abusing Fate. There isn't really much else that we do happen to use. So, yeah, there's that. I'm going to quickly do the card by card. We have Magical Labra, which basically allows us to modulate levels, which can allow us to go into our extra deck monsters. That's like the only way that we can do it, so that's why he's here. Also, a tuner. We also have the other Pendulum scale that we have with Abductor or Abjudicator. I don't know why I call it that, but I do. And this card basically allows you to search out the Magical Labra with spell counters, as well as it gains attack for each spell counter it has. This card can get very big. We have Blue Boy, which searches out one of your spellbooks. This card can tribute itself after you've activated one of your spellbooks to summon out your High Priestess. This is your boss monster. We all know what Breaker does. High Priestess basically allows itself to be special summoned by revealing 3 spellbooks in your hand, and once per turn, banish a spellbook to pop a card. Neither of those effects are hard once per turn, meaning you can get as many of these cards out as you can. As long as you have the materials to special summon them, you can special summon them from hand. Similar to a Dark Arm Dragon, kind of. Next up, we have Spellbook of Secret, which searches every other card. We have Spellbook of Power, which boosts your spellcaster attack by 1,000 that turn. Also, if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to add a Spellbook spell card from your deck to your hand. Eternity adds back from the banish pile. Master copies a card in the grave, or a Spellbook spell card in the grave. Knowledge allows you to draw cards by sending a Spellbook or spellcaster from field or hand to grave. We have a Spellbook of Life, which allows us to reborn a monster by banishing another one, and then you modulate levels. Spellbook Spell Tower. The reason we're only playing one of this is because it's only useful in the standby phase. That's basically it. Also, I guess if it's destroyed, you can special summon a spellcaster from hand or deck, equal to the number of Spellbook spell cards in your grave. It never comes up, so we just play the one. We're playing 2-star Hall. This card is what allows us to gain attack points. For each spell counter placed on it, every time you activate a spell card, you place a spell counter. All of your spellcasters gain 100 attack. So, pretty good. We have Spellbook of Wisdom, which protects from spell and traps. We also have Spellbook of Fate, obviously, and then the 1 Judgment. I'm also playing 2 traps with 2 Transmigration Prophecy. This just happened to be a really good card. Not only are you able to shuffle back cards that you potentially can search later, but you are also able to disrupt your opponent due to like just shuffling back something like a branded in red target, or if they're playing Chaos, something like all of their lights or all of their darks. As for the extra deck, it's just max out from the structure deck. It's 3 Arcanite Magician, 3 Fortune Lady Every. Both of these technically can be summoned. I very rarely summon them. Never summoned Empress. I think I summoned this guy once. No, I summoned him once in solo mode. And then we have Crowley. This card is absolutely invaluable. Reason being, it searches out the one of your spellbook cards at random, but it does allow you to potentially continue extending. By revealing something like a secret, a master, and something else, you could potentially get one of those and then continue searching, or what have you. So all in all, the strategy isn't the greatest, especially compared to something like when we did this last time with the Dragon Maids, but I still think that this has potential, and like if you were to just throw this in, you could get to gold easy. You could get probably to platinum with just this. I was playing in gold and had a few issues, but it wasn't too hard. Yeah, you just kind of have to learn the deck, and the deck is a little bit confusing. So let's show you the replays and tell you how to play the deck. Before we get on to the rest of the video, did you know that 70% of the people who watch my content aren't subscribed? If you end up liking the content, consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later if you end up not liking it. Anyway, let's get on to the rest of the video. Alright, so here we are in the first game. Going first, we don't have the greatest of hands, but we do have a Blue Boy, which allows us to search out the Judgment. So we're going to activate the Judgment here, and then we are going to activate the Knowledge. We're going to send away this extra copy of Spellbook of the Master in order to go for the draw effect. We're then going to activate the Spellbook Tower that we ended up getting to gain additional advantage off of the Judgment, and then we're going to activate the Master, reveal Eternity, and then target the Knowledge to copy the effect. We're going to send the tower that we ended up getting there to the graveyard, and then we are going to activate the magical abductor, set the Transmigration Prophecy, and pass the turn. We're going to add it to our hand at the end. We're going to add Secret, Fate, Star Hall, Eternity, a second one, and then we are going to special summon out Temperance. Temperance is literally just a body blocker. My opponent, of course, has Harpy's Feather Duster, but we're just going to flip up the Transmigration Prophecy. We're going to shuffle 2 cards back into the deck. I believe it was Towers and I forget what else. And then we're going to pass the turn. They are playing Trickstars. Oh no. They're going to attack into our Temperance. They're going to set 3 and pass. All right. Draw. We're going to draw for turn. We're going to take 200, and then we're going to take 300, and then my opponent is going to activate their Trickstar Reincarnation. Now, Reincarnation is going to banish our entire hand, which means we're getting none of these cards back. We happen to have both of the Eternities, which ends up being a huge mistake for me. But yeah, we do get to quick play activate our Spellbook of Fate in order to banish their other Trickstar, because if we had kept their Trickstar on the field, we would have taken damage for each card that we had drawn. So really good that we got rid of that there. We actually get 6 cards here, even though, yeah, we get the 6 cards here, and so yeah, pretty good. This does mean that we are able to go for the High Priestess here. The reason we get to go for High Priestess here is because we drew 1, 2, 3 Spellbooks, which means we could just special summon them. We're going to draw a card. They're going to activate Disturbance Strategy, which ends up getting us the ability to special summon out another High Priestess of Prophecy. So we're going to do that. We're going to special summon it. And then we're going to activate the effect to pop another card, and they will concede, realizing that the game is well over. Giving me a whole bunch of draws isn't really the greatest of ideas. Alright, so here we are once again going first, and the hand also looks pretty bad. Now, I'm also playing this card, Spellbook Library of Crescent. I decided to take it out because it's really bad. You specifically have to have no Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard. You cannot activate any cards or any spell cards besides Spellbook spell cards, and it just reveals spell cards and randomly adds one. So it's not something like an additional search. It's really bad, and I just ended up cutting it. It's not really worth it. Just a little too inconsistent. My opponent, however, is playing Thunder Dragons, so potentially this Transmigration Prophecy will be pretty good. Let's find out. So we're going to reveal 3 cards. It's Judgment, Secret, and the other card. We're going to plop down the Judgment. We're going to normal summon our Magician of Prophecy. We're going to go Secret. We're going to search out the Master. We're going to activate the Master. We're going to reveal the Knowledge. We are going to target the Secret, and we're going to search out Fate. We are then going to activate Fate here in order to flip our blue boy face down, and then we're going to add it back the Secret off of the Eternity. We're then going to activate the Spellbook of Knowledge in order to draw 2 cards, and then we end on just a singular set of Transmigration Prophecy. Now, we are going to get a whole bunch of cards off of this Spellbook, or Spellbook of Judgment, as well as be able to special summon out the Magical Labra. So, yeah, we have basically everything that we need at this point. My opponent goes for Chaos Space, and seeing that there are 2 Thunder Dragon Darks in the graveyard, I'm like, okay, if they go for Chaos Space, they need a Dark in grave to get with, because they're going to grab Wyvern Burster here. Wyvern Burster can special summon itself by banishing a Dark, and if we let them banish a Dark, they're going to get additional advantage off of that by searching it through the Thunder Dragon Dark, and then we are going to be in a lot of pain. So I end up just shuffling those 2 away. Out comes the Wyvern Burster. My opponent activates Thunder Dragon. They're going to search out another Thunder Dragon, and then set one and pass. Right, let's go. Transmigration Prophecy for the win. We're going to flip up the Blue Boy. Guess what? Blue Boy says not just on normal summon, but also if it's flipped face up. Same stipulation as Alistair the Invoker. So we are going to then search out, I think I searched out Power or something like that. We're going to activate ourselves at the Star Hall. We are then going to activate Secrets, and then we are going to activate our Spellbook of the Master. We're going to search out another card with, we're going to search out the Spellbook of Wisdom. We are then going to go into Crowley. Crowley effect will activate, and we will search out, we will reveal 3 cards. We end up grabbing a Fate here, so I'm going to activate my Fate in order to banish 3 cards, which ends up banishing their Super Polymerization. Now we also have the Judgment in the banished pile, so I'm going to search back the Judgment, or add back the Judgment with Eternity. Then we're going to activate the Judgment just to get it in the end phase. We're then going to activate Abductor in order to add the Magical Labra. I know I accidentally put this card in the Pendulum zone. It's fine, I promise. But yeah, we're going to pitch a card in order to draw 2. We end up just normal summoning the Abductor and then equipping it or activating the Spellbook of Power so that it can gain more attack. We have some pretty big attack points here. We're also going to activate another card, again, just for that additional follow-up with Judgment. We do put them on a 2-turn clock, and we're going to activate the Judgment here in order to go 1, 2, 3, 4... oh no, I just had the 3, and then we special summon out the Temperance. I think I only had 3 activations there. Anyway, my opponent goes for the Harpy's Feather Duster. That really sucks, but not anything that we can do about it. I'm just going to activate these 2 so that we can get 2 counters on the Spell Hall, which will then allow us to special summon, to add to the hand our High Priestess of Prophecy. Then they're also going to Raigeki us, and Temperance is unaffected by spell effects, which is why I wasn't flipped face down. Sorry, kind of going quickly, but basically, this card's still sticking around. Yeah, there you go. We reveal another High Priestess of Prophecy, and at this point, the game is over. We just special summon the one that we already had, and yeah, we're going to do it again, because I ended up drawing another one. So yeah, out comes the second one. We're going to normal summon the Magical Labra. We are going to go into Fortune Lady Every, and at this point, we will just proceed to battle, because we have well over lethal. Good game. Alright, and here we are going second. This is the first time we've gone second, but honestly, this deck isn't necessarily bad at going second, just because it has so much gas, you can kind of play through quite a few things. My opponent is playing Dark Magician, because, of course, they're playing the worst mate in the entire game. Out comes Dark Magician. They decided to special summon this instead of sending it to the graveyard and special summoning their Magician Souls, because, I don't know, they're a bad player, who knows. Anyway, we draw Temperance for a turn, but we are going to first start by activating the Abductor. We're going to normal summon the Temperance here and then activate Spellbook of Knowledge to pitch the field spell that we had. We draw into, again, I'm still playing the Crescent for some reason, terrible decision, but that's fine, because we are then going to go into our High Priestess of Prophecy. We're going to banish a card in order to pop their set card. Turns out it's a Forbidden Droplet. They're going to negate Not that big of a deal, though, because we can still go Spellbook of Master, reveal the Crescent, send it to the graveyard, and draw 2 more. We end up drawing into Spellbook, Blue Boy, which is pretty nice. However, we already have Fate as well as Wisdom, and we've already normal summoned. We normal summoned the Temperance, so we can't really do much here. We grab up the Candelabra and just set 2 and pass. My opponent goes to the battle phase. I'm going to activate Fate here in order to banish their Dark Magician so that they can't get any advantage off of it again. They pass. I'm going to draw for turn the Star Hall, but I'm going to first normal summon out the Magician, the Blue Boy. Then I'm going to search out Judgment. Judgment is going to be activated. Then we're going to activate the Star Hall. Then we're going to activate the Abductor in order to search out the Magical Labra, activate the Magical Labra, and then we will activate the High Priestess, popping a card by banishing, I believe we banished Fate there. We're going to add back the Master here so that we can use its effect in order to... We're going to use its effect later. We need another Spellbook spell card. So, first of all, we are going to Pendulum summon out the Magical Labra that we have in our hand, and then go into Crowley. Crowley will then reveal 3 random cards, or 3 cards. My opponent will allow me to add 1 randomly, and we end up adding the Spellbook of Life. So we're going to target the Eternity that we have in Grave with our Spellbook of Master to add back the Fate. So now we have Fate in rotation as well. We're going to go for Spellbook of Life. We're going to banish a card in order to special summon back our Prophecy, and then we are going to activate the Prophecy because its effect hasn't been activated this turn. We're going to special summon out the High Priestess. I don't have quite enough for lethal, but again, we still have the Spellbook of Fate and the Spellbook of Wisdom, as well as Judgment, allowing us to grab additional advantage. So we're going to add up a whole bunch of cards. As you can see, just filling up our hand. And then we're also going to end by special summoning the Abductor. My opponent ends the turn, and at this point, the game is over. So, yeah, I'm going to normal summon the Blue Boy just because I can. And then we are going to proceed to battle. Good game. Alright, and here we are once again going second. This hand is okay. Again, we kind of started with the Library of the Crescent. But yeah, I mean... We also have Judgment, so who knows. My opponent is playing Pendulum, and they are going to Fuse Summon into Supreme King Starving Venom, and then pass the turn. The greatest of Pendulum players, ladies and gentlemen. We draw High Priestess, which is actually very good here, because now we can go into the High Priestess by revealing 3 cards, and then special summoning. We are going to go and activate the Spellbook Library and then activate Judgment here, and we are going to reveal 3 cards. We end up grabbing the Spellbook of Knowledge. We're going to banish the Crescent in order to pop their set card. They get to draw a card off of it, which is odd. But yeah, now we're going to go Eternity in order to add back the Library, which will then be pitched for the draw 2. We're then going to go Secret and search out our Blue Boy. We're then going to activate Fate in order to banish their monster, and my opponent realizes that the game is now over because they suck. And they concede. So, all in all, this deck is pretty interesting. I would say that overall the structure deck is one of the highest value structure decks that we've had, if not the highest value structure deck, and the reason for that is simply due to the fact that if you are playing a deck that wants to utilize the Spellbook engine, having access to all of these URs without needing to craft them is insane value. However, with that being said, the overall structure deck's power level is pretty weak. Even with Spellbook of Judgment being able to allow them to go into Jogan or the like, it's still not great. You still need to do something else, and honestly, while it is a decent control strategy, I feel like a lot of other decks utilize their non-special summon target, such as Barrier Statue of Stormwind or Christia, a little bit better. So, this is just kind of like the weakest of them. A 13 defense point Jaugen isn't really going to do much against a normal summon of Aluber. Like, you just normal summon Aluber and then you're off to the races. I guess with Fate behind it, it could potentially do something, but all in all, it's really not that much. Plus, you're also then playing under your own Jaugen, which isn't great. However, very high value if you are planning on playing the overall engine, such as in Endymion or Sky Striker or the like. So yeah, 1500 for all of these cards is exceptional. However, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye! Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support. and I hope you enjoy the content.